Hi everybody. Okay, I'm down at the ocean in Carlsbad, California. We bought a timeshare when I joined LAPD in 2002, and we've been coming to it every year ever since because we bought it on the week of our anniversary. And we are now on the 29th, hitting our 29th anniversary, and together for 5 years before that, so quite some time. This channel obviously is about overlanding, but I wanted to take this opportunity while I'm not dealing with, camping, setting up, things like that, which I haven't got to do a lot of yet. But I wanted to take this opportunity on a break to talk about my journey. And it's not an easy one to talk about, but it's something that I just want to put out there, so everybody knows when they see my videos. Maybe they know why I don't speak as clearly as I should, or I'm not like right now I'm stuttering. I didn't plan on this. I just took a walk on the beach this morning with some coffee, and I started thinking about things, and I honestly just decided to make this video on the spur of the moment, listening to the waves crashing, the tides coming in. It's pretty intense, and I wanted to just put my story out there, and I'm going to try to do it as succinct and as linear as possible. But I may backtrack, I don't know. And if you're watching this, if you have subscribed to the channel, I just want to say thank you. This channel is about overlanding. I'm slowly building up my 2025 Bronco Outer Banks with the Sasquatch package. It's on July 8th. I take it in, and I'm having a major overhaul of it with suspension and bumpers and the Warn winch and trail racks with pack racks, roof rack, chase lights and pillar lights. So there's going to be a lot of changes to it, and after it, I'm going to take it with my family to Moab, and we're going to do some rock crawling and trail rides up there. And after that, when I get back, I'm going to invest in a rooftop tent, and then my setup, I think, will be pretty complete. I've spent a lot of money, maybe too much, but when you're facing the end of your life, you kind of throw caution to the wind and do what you want to do before you leave the planet. And I guess I'll lead into the diagnosis. A little bit before that, I've been pretty adventurous my whole life. I moved out when I was 16. I lived in my car in the winter in Oregon for a while. Found a way to make it work. I'd go to the gym, and then I'd shower, and then I'd go to work, and then I'd go camp out overnight in my car. So I've been camping and overlanding for a very long time. And then when I was, I think, 17, 18, I decided to hitchhike to California because I wanted to be an actor. And I'd done some modeling and stuff before then. I know I don't look like it now, but I did some modeling, and then I ended up going to hitchhiking to LA, and I survived, and I made a life for myself down there. And I kind of went back and forth between Oregon and California a little bit. And then when I went back to Oregon in 91, 92, I did a Mountain Dew commercial. See if I find it. I can put an overlay here of, it's just very quick, but I basically, to get that commercial, to get a principal role in it, I was up against all these 6'2" models, and I knew that if I was to have a shot at getting on camera, I had to do something unique. So, at parties in my early teens, admitting that I drank early, I would impress people by taking a beer and, holding it and pulling it away from my mouth and still chugging it. And so I did that for the camera when the director gave me a shot, and he focused in on me with people around me and they're cheering me on, have the Mountain Dew can showing. And I pulled it away and he was like, "Oh my God, what is that? I've never seen that. Let's get that again." So he took a bunch of takes on it. Sure enough, I got a principal role in it, made quite a bit of money. And funny enough, after that commercial in 92, I think it aired during the 92 or the 93 Super Bowl. It's been a long time, I don't remember. You started seeing that everywhere. You started seeing in all these soda commercials, people pulling the can away. I started that. So, but after that, I met my future wife, Karina, and rolled up on a motorcycle, and she was sitting out, on a stoop at her friend's house, and that's a story for another time. But moving forward, I moved to LA with her. We got engaged on Christmas Eve. I was living down there again, but we were separated, apart, not separated, and I knew that she was the one, so I came back and proposed because she told me she wouldn't live with somebody until she was engaged to him. And we've been together ever since, and she is my rock, my life. I could not do the things I've done. I mean, I've always been strong, and I've always done things that other people marveled at as far as like taking risks. But she gave me the impetus to take risks in the right way and to achieve success properly and not be foolish about what I did, the risks that I would take. So I joined LAPD. We got an opportunity to move back here. I joined another department up here, and up in Oregon. I'm in California right now, but up there I joined another department, and I didn't like it. I was arresting people I went to school with, and it was depressing, and I did not like my colleagues either, so most of them. It's sad to say, I just did not fit in there. So I got out of that, and then I went to a hospital system and protected people for over a decade doing that. And fast forward to now. I had a cough last July, and not a cough, I got a cold, and it was very severe. It was 3 days, and then it went away, but it was a really bad cold, like nothing I'd experienced. I'm not talking a man cold, I'm talking a real barn burner of a cold. I felt like I was half dead. But after 3 days, I got back up, healed up, but I had a cough, a dry cough that didn't go away for a very, very long time, several months. I ended up going to my PCP, and he listened to my lungs and whatnot, decided to send me to a pulmonologist. Said she was, one of the best in Oregon. And I went and I saw her, and she put me through, after initial exam, and put me into a testing situation of what's called a PFT, a pulmonary function test. Did that round robin of tests, had another appointment with her to go over the results, had a short sleeve shirt on, and she said that I had 50% use of my diaphragm, and it was concerning. I was like, yeah, okay, well, that's a muscle, right? I can work out, I can, work on my core and build it up. And she laughed at me. It's not how it works. And then she stopped and she looked at my arm and she said, "How long has that been going on?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "Look at your arm." And my muscle was twitching like crazy. And I didn't even notice it until she said something. Then my wife, Karina, said, "Well, that's been going on a few months," and I didn't think anything of it. And Dr. Vandy, the pulmonologist, she said, I think I just want to send you to my neurologist and have him check you out. And I just thought in my head, oh, well, he knows what's, maybe it's the nerves and the diaphragm, and he can fix that. No. Anyway, I went to see him. We did more tests. I did MRIs, blood tests, ended up doing what's called EMG, where they take electrical shocks and shock your muscles where the nerves are at. Then they take a acupuncture type needle and they stick it in the muscles next to the nerve and listen to the nerve, which sounds like aliens clicking, really wild. And then it ended up coming back where he said, you have motor neuron disease. And I said, well, that's treatable, right? And he said, no, unfortunately it's not. But we don't know what kind of motor neuron, and we're just going to have to keep testing because we have to rule out all the mimics and everything else. So eventually he settled on a title called Progressive Muscular Atrophy, PMA. And I was losing the strength in my left hand. And I noticed that, some of the muscle definition in my hand and my forearm wasn't as good as it used to be. And he said that's where your muscles, the nerves, are basically shutting down those muscles. They're not getting the proper signals at the cellular level. And I'm just kind of butchering this, but it basically, your nerves stop talking to muscles, the muscles wither and die. The problem with that is that if your heart's a muscle, your diaphragm, your lungs are muscles, you're swallowing your involuntary muscles like breathing, swallowing, chewing, things that you do without thinking about. They end up dying off, and it started happening in my left hand. I can't tie my shoes well. It's really hard for me to unbutton or button my shirt or my jeans or whatnot. Zipping things up with my left hand is dang near impossible. And so I ended up we settled on PMA, but he said we need to do more testing, and I really would like you to get a second opinion. And I said, okay. So he sent me to up here we have up there in Oregon we have Oregon Health Sciences University. They're a teaching hospital. They've got some of the top specialists that come there in the world to study things, and their ALS clinic is beyond capable. So he sent me there to their director, Dr. Wilkes, and he did all of that same testing and then ran a bunch of blood tests. And, long story, a little bit longer, it all came back to, it's not just motor neuron disease, it's ALS. Officially, I have ALS. And that's a hard thing to think about. Suddenly you're being told after 57 years, thinking that I would be taken out by maybe being a cop in a gun battle or driving too fast or, so many other things you think of. I mean, I've died before. I got really sick when I was 43 and went into the hospital, and they did an angiogram thinking that I was having a heart attack because my body was so sick and dehydrated. My troponin levels in my heart were pumping out excessive amount. So they sent me the cardiac unit, and they decided to do an angiogram. They gave me the CT dye that you use in it, like for a CT scan, and I ended up coding on the table a couple of times, I think. And I had another time where I had pneumonia, and when I was in my early 30s, and I had an out-of-body experience. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I was lying in my apartment. Karina was on a business trip, and I was sweating and, fever dreams. And then I finally fell asleep, and at one point, I woke up looking down at myself, and I looked around the apartment. It was like, what is going on? then I realized I'm out of my body, and if I don't find a way to get back in, that was it for me. And I still had things I wanted to do in life. And I started feeling this tearing, like my soul was tearing away from my body. And that kind of shocked me into waking up, and I sat straight up on the couch, just covered in sweat. I ended up I stayed up it was like 3 a.m. I stayed up, and then at 7 o'clock I went into Beverly Hills to Cedar Sinai, where Dr. Stone was my doctor, and he's like, you've got walking pneumonia, a pretty bad case of it. You're lucky you didn't die. And I told him about it, and he goes, yeah, you had an out of body, man. You died. So he gave me a bunch of antibiotics, and here I am. But, I've had motorcycle close calls. I've been in car accidents, where the police have said, you're lucky that you're around. I mean, I've had my share of close calls, but to actually have this, and people ask me how it feels, I tell them it's surreal, and you don't ever expect something like this. Just like a person that receives a diagnosis of cancer, it's like, with cancer, there's a hope that you can fight it. With this, there is no cure. It's just a steady declining progression that eventually shuts you down, and you end up, you can't chew, you can't breathe well, you can't eat, you can't swallow. They put you on a feeding tube. If you want, they can put you on a trach, or you just wait it out, and then eventually you get to the point where you're not getting enough oxygen, and your brain shuts down. You go to sleep and you don't wake up. That's the long form. That doesn't talk about all the things in between, where you can't walk, can't go to the bathroom. Caregivers have to, roll you over to wash you and have you go to the bathroom and stuff. It's just a horrible, horrible thing. I don't really want that. But, not to be depressing, I basically, at this point, they gave me that diagnosis, but they didn't give me a time frame. I mean, they say mine's slow progression. So, it could be a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, maybe even 20, depending on how I take care of myself and how I progress. And when they said that, the first image that came to mind was a clock on the wall without a face, without arms, without a second, minute, hour hand. And it was ticking loudly, but it's got no face. So I have no idea what time it is, what time I have. It's just this diagnosis of you're going to die, and it could be any moment. Now, we all can die. We could go out, walk out in front of a bus, choke on some food, heart attack, stroke. We all have that. But the luxury is you just don't know about it. Whereas this is, they tell you, you've got it, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, I'm basically staring down the barrel of a gun that hasn't had a trigger pulled yet. So I decided I'm going to live my life, and as I say, live and live well. And maybe it's foolish, I don't know, but I've taken some good money and put it into my Bronco, getting all these things added to it. And I'm going to go out and do more camping. I've done a couple of beach runs. I've done a couple of reviews, but my channel's not going to be about the Bronco and all the stuff I'm doing to it, as much as it's going to be about my journey, my struggle, trying to live my life as long as I can, to be around for my family and to have some adventures, and hopefully live a good life before my number gets called. So I guess I just felt like I needed to put this out there. It's a long, boring story. If you've stuck around to listen to this whole thing, I appreciate it. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm not here for anything other than support, as far as, hey man, you're doing a good job with your Bronco, or mostly I'm doing this channel to document my journey, so when I do pass, my kids will have a video history of at least one part of my life where I threw caution to the wind and I did something that I was really excited about. So I want to thank every one of you for your support. Thank every one of you for, if you happen to like or comment or share this video. I'm hoping that I can give you at least a fun channel to, hey man, this guy's taking care of himself the best he can, but he's, he can't tie a shoe. He can't cook something properly because of his hands, whatever it may be. Find some humor in my misery. No, I'm just kidding. But we can laugh at this. I make jokes about it all the time. I love to say when somebody gives me pushback on something, I'm like, hey man, I'm dying. Come on. And they're like, don't do that to me. But yeah, that's the whole spiel here. Sorry, I keep using the word spiel. It shows how old I am. 57, gray hair. Look like Fester on a bad day. But anyway, thank you everybody. I really appreciate you. I want to tell you, live and live well. You have no idea how long you got. And make your life count. Peace out.